Hey, what's going on guys? Sumet from SumitoMedia.com, and I have made a living these past 2 years by helping people find the right computer for them. And I know one of the most confusing times of the year can be back to school time. When you have to go and buy a computer for either yourself, your son, your daughter, your parents, or the student in your life, there are a lot of options out there, and not everybody knows computers as well as I do. So I put together this little guide, some recommendations, and some specific laptops that I think are going to be the best choice for you at certain price points if you want something thin and light, if you want a gaming computer. So let's get right into it. So first up, we're taking a look at computers that are around $200. Now, if you're looking at this price point, you're almost definitely looking at either a Chromebook or a computer that's got an AMD A4 or A6 laptop. These things are everywhere, all over Walmart, all over Costco, and the only thing they're looking to do is to grab your attention because of how inexpensive they are. A Chromebook doesn't run Windows, so you can't use them for almost any online courses, and an AMD A4 or an AMD A6 processor isn't going to carry you through the 4 years of high school and isn't going to be strong enough for 4 years of college. Because of that, my recommendation, if you're looking for a computer around $200, is the Acer Spire ES1 572-32-1G. It is perfect in this category because it's at $259, but it gives you full-fledged Windows and an Intel Core i3 processor. This makes it much more future-proof if you want to use it for 3 or 4 years. This isn't going to be the best laptop for you if you're going to be using it for high school and college, but if you're looking at this price point, I think it is going to be better than a Chromebook or an AMD A4 or A6 processor. The next category of computers is what I call the budget computers, between $300 and $500. The sweet spot for computers, in my opinion, is between $500 and $600, because at that point, you get basically everything that you want out of a laptop. 7+ hours on the battery, a full 1080p screen, at least an i5 processor, at least 8 GB of RAM, a backlit keyboard, a solid-state drive, and a touchscreen. When you jump down to the $300 to $500 price point, your goal is to just try and get as many of these things as you can. Some great ones that I found have been the HP 15AY130NR, which has both an i5 and 8 GB of RAM, the Dell Inspiron 15-inch, which has an i3 processor, 6 GB of RAM, and gives you a touchscreen, or the Acer Spire E5 575-5493, an i5 4 GB version that gives you a backlit keyboard. Pick whichever one of these has exactly what you're looking for, and that's about as much as you can expect in this price point. The next category that we're going to be taking a look at is the sweet spot, the number one category between $500 and $600. Looking at our list again, these laptops are going to have an i5 processor with at least 8 GB of RAM, a full high-definition screen, a touchscreen, a backlit keyboard, and probably most importantly, a solid-state drive. If you're spending anywhere between $500 and $600, your goal is to get as many of these things as possible in the laptop of your choice. Some personal favorites that I found are the Acer Spire R5 series at $529, has that entire list, 9 hours of battery life, a 14-inch screen, full high definition, touch, convertible, i5, 8 gigs of RAM, it's got it all. This is the epitome of a sweet spot laptop. Next to that, we also have the Lenovo Flex 4, which carries all of those same things at a price point of $599. This one's a 15-inch laptop, but on top of everything that the Acer's got, this one also has a dedicated graphics card, the R7 M460. If you like the previous laptop, but you need something with a little bit more horsepower for Photoshop, video editing, audio editing, or even some lightweight gaming, the Lenovo Flex 4 is a better choice. Up next, we're taking a look at lightweight laptops, all of which also happen to be 13-inch laptops. My number one recommendations right now are the Acer Spin 5 at $599, which has everything that the sweet spot laptops does, but is only 13 inches and at 3.5 pounds. Very attractive for anybody who's on the go. Up next, we also have the Dell Inspiron 13-inch at $629, which has the exact same spec as the previous Acer, but is made by Dell and brings an all-aluminum body to an already great machine. And finally on this list, I have the Apple Macbook Air at $949. For anybody who prefers the Mac OS, the Macbook Air is a laptop that I have loved for a very long time. It doesn't have a full high-definition screen, and it comes with a smaller SSD than the rest of the items on the list, but in our lightweight category, it trades those things for some of the best build quality imaginable, an outstanding 12-hour battery life sitting at 2.9 pounds. Our last category, and my favorite category, is the performance laptops. You want to get something in this section if you're a gamer, a photographer, somebody who's going into engineering and will need things like AutoCAD, or a videographer. In this category, we want to try and find a laptop that has an i7 processor. but these can be a little bit confusing. There are two types of i7 processors in laptops nowadays, and that is a dual-core i7 and a quad-core i7. A dual-core i7, like the name says, has 2 cores, whereas a quad-core i7 has 4. The reason this is important is that if you're trying to buy a computer because you're using it for performance, gaming, photography, whatever it may be, a dual-core i7 has the same number of cores as an i5. So paying extra money for one of these won't really give you too much more performance, whereas a quad-core i7 will give you that performance. It's very easy to tell them apart. When you look at an i7, the quad cores will end in an HQ, and the dual cores will end in a U. For instance, 7700 HQ and 7500U. I remember this as high quality and ultra low power. The second thing that we're taking a look for in these gaming computers is a graphics card. We want to try and find something with a 1050, a 1050 Ti, a 1060, or a 1070 if you can afford it. The higher up in these numbers you go, the more powerful the graphics card, and the faster it will chew through video games, photo editing, and video editing. Kicking off this category, we're taking a look at the Asus FX53VD. At $799, it is the least expensive option that I could find that has everything that we're looking for. An i7 7700 HQ processor, a GTX 1050 graphics card, and a 256GB solid-state drive. Most of the options that are under $800 didn't have full high-definition screens, but this Asus does, which is a nice touch. The 1050 graphics card will be strong enough for smaller games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends on medium to high settings, and will be able to handle lightweight photography and video editing just fine. Up next, we have the Acer Aspire VX15. At $999, it upgrades the 1050 to a 1050 Ti graphics card and gives you a huge 500GB solid-state drive. After that, we've got the Acer Aspire Nitro Black V15 at $1,200, which upgrades you to a 1060 graphics card and also comes in a V17 17-inch model at the same price if you want a larger computer. This is going to be fantastic if you're looking to play games like Overwatch, Tomb Raider, Crysis, and what have you at lower settings, and will be able to chew through 4K videos to the best of your ability if you're trying to do it on a laptop. Finally, if you can find any laptop with a GTX 1070 graphics card under $1,400, go for it. That's going to be the best deal you'll be able to find. So that's it for all of my recommendations and what I've got for you guys. Remember, if your school doesn't provide it, you're probably also going to want to get a copy of Microsoft Office and an antivirus software because you're probably going to need those for school. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll get to you if I can. Like this video if you thought it was great, and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. Until then, I'll see you guys next week.